Hi guys, welcome to Ingleses in Florianopolis. Ingleses is Florianopolis' largest residential neighborhood. The population here is estimated to be somewhere between 50,000 to 80,000 people who live here. There is a 5-kilometer stretch of beach and a very large neighborhood full of amenities, schools, whether public, private, many banks, large supermarkets, wholesalers, loads of gyms. There really is a lot going on here. Ingleses actually feels like a town. We're about 20 miles, 30 kilometers out from the center of Florianopolis. And really Ingleses is like a center for the north. Areas such as Rio Vermelho, Canas Vieiras relate quite a lot to Ingleses as well. So today we're going to explore Ingleses, what it's actually like here in Ingleses, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I'm, just for the sake of transparency as well, I'm going to open up and say I've been living in Ingleses for 11 years. We arrived here when we first moved to Florianopolis to use it as a base just to explore Florianopolis, where we wanted to be. Very quickly, my daughter, she was just keen to get to school. She was 5 at the time, so she made us enroll her. I've never seen that before. I was not like that as a kid where I was keen to be at school, but my daughter made her enroll her within a couple of days of being here, and she really loved it. And actually, I came here as a pastor, and we started a church here, and I led that church for some 7 years. So very familiar with Ingleses, and it is a place that can divide opinions. But what I want to do is I want to give you a fair overview of Ingleses, and actually, I think Ingleses is one of the places that could be your best bet for real estate investment due to a number of factors. One being just all that's going on here in terms of improvements, but also rental demand, demand for buying, appreciation. Ingleses has been somewhere that's been giving around 20% appreciation each year, and it's at a much more accessible price, let's say, than premium areas such as Jurerê or Novo Campeche. And it's good to be aware that there's a lot happening in the north part of Ingleses, which is kind of like, it's called the noble part. So if you see here, actually, we're in very calm streets, organized streets, wide streets, and very nice condos. And actually, there's a lot of luxury here, but also there's a lot of infrastructure going in on this part of Ingleses. So I'm going to whip round and show you just here, just one of the projects that's going in, for example, here. And this is typical of what's going to be happening in this part of Ingleses, where you're going to get these nice new condos. And at the base of that are amenities. So there's going to be new cafes, restaurants, shops. And the advantage with that for developers is they're permitted to build higher, to build more if they put in communal facilities. And those facilities will really benefit the community as well. So this part is already very nice in Ingleses, but those amenities are really going to add value in terms of lifestyle here. Traditionally, if I go back kind of 10 years ago, when I was first living here, it was actually quite deserted at this part of Ingleses. A lot of these apartments were for Airbnb, short-term rentals. They were beach homes for people who live more in the center of Florianopolis. But actually, it's very residential now. And as we go down those areas there, the prefeitura, the local government, City Hall, has put in. They've put in their parks. There's like sports courts there for beach tennis, volleyball, all of those things. So they're very pleasant places to be. And as I say, with these new condos coming in as well, they're going to bring more amenities. So you've definitely seen this area become more residential and less seasonal, but also, of course, in tourist season as well, it's very packed here with people from other parts of Brazil, Argentina, other places in South America, and increasingly more so now we're seeing more North Americans and Europeans coming here as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you an overview of Ingleses, talk to you a bit about the real estate market here, and some of the improvements that are happening here So this is one of the hidden gems in Ingleses. This is Monte Pelmo. It's a gelateria. Was voted one of the best in the country, within the top 3 in the entire country. The founders of this have since sold it to one of their employees who've kept the same standard, but the founders have opened different shops now in other areas in Florianopolis. What used to happen with this one is people would come from afar to eat ice cream here, like on the mainland 40 minutes away, would drive in. So it's once you have ice cream here, anywhere else just seems quite artificial. So I've gone for some fruit flavors. Well, there's chocolate in there as well, but I've gone for the diet flavors. The flavors are amazing. It's like you can taste the fruit melting in your mouth, and when you go anywhere else after, it feels quite artificial in comparison. So we're currently on Rua das Gaivotas. That is very well known in Ingleses. It's part of the North region, the as they call it, the noble part of Ingleses, and actually it's very nice. This pathway, what we're on now, this has been done this year. It was done in time for the tourist season, so you have a place for walking, running, cycling here now. Before it was kind of like pebbles and stuff, and people could park here. So behind this vegetation is the beach, and I'm going to take you on to that now. This new walkway, this extends for about 2 kilometers, goes right to the end of the beach, and as you go back a few blocks, you've got very nice condos with great leisure facilities, and it's all very calm. And as I say, there is more infrastructure going in there in terms of the amenities. There's also going to be a road that, as you come off the main road coming into Ingleses, will run along the back there. Like if you know Ingleses, you go Jurerê Internacional, and then there'll be access to there as well. So that will alleviate traffic coming here, and it'll be a very convenient access for those living here or visiting here. Okay, so I'm going to take you onto the beach here. As I say, there's a large stretch of beach here in Ingleses, 5 kilometers in total. And for me, this part of the beach is the part that I most like. So when I do come, I don't go to the beach all that often, but when I do come, this is really the part that I like to come to here. You'll see that there's a lot of native vegetation on this bit here. There's also some like little cabanas for fishermen, as well as there's fishing that happens here. It's seasonal, and I'll give you a good look at what the beach looks like here, and it's very pleasant. So let's wander on. It's a Sunday afternoon. It's a very nice day. Currently we are in April. So tourist season, I would say, is over. There's still still noticing people from other places in South America here, as it's still a very pleasant time of year to come. And you can see it's still fairly busy. I'm going to whip round here, and you'll sort of see the center of the beach in Ingleses behind. That's where the center, like the center of like restaurants and other bars and things are there, and there's a big concentration of people there as well. So the beach gets very busy here. This part is normally a bit more quieter, as it's a bit further away from that, but nevertheless still a lot of people here come high tourist season, and that goes all the way up to the back there where there's some kind of rocks and things. And it's a really nice and pleasant place to be. The sea, it's open Atlantic, and a word of warning is it can be rough. If you're not a confident swimmer, don't go too deep. There are strong undercurrents in the water, so you could get into trouble if you're not a good swimmer. There are some people who surf here, but Santinho, which is the next beach down, would be more popular here on the north of the island for surfing. And along the beach here as well, there are lots of nice condos that have already been delivered. There's some nice projects under construction as well. northern tip of Ingleses now, beaches behind there. Here's one of the very last bits of land that are available. A well-known local developer, luxury developer, Kerish, owns this, and they've been sitting on it for a long time, and the longer they sit on it, the more it's just going to go up in terms of value, and the overall project that they would eventually execute will go up as well. And you know, this whole area in Ingleses is coming up as well, so I'd expect something really luxurious to come up there in the future. There's a lot of construction going on in Ingleses. Here's another condo at the top here, and some nice examples of, you know, condos that have been delivered as well. You know, we've got an apartment for sale here at the moment. You know, good sized units, starting with 2 beds, 3 beds, penthouses with terrace, very nice facilities, nice swimming pool, gym, cinema, you know, even convenience stores mixed in. So you know, this whole northern part of Ingleses is like this, and you can see it's very calm. You know, it's very safe as well. It's different to the southern part of Ingleses. That's more chaotic, less organized. You know, the sort of level of things is really mixed there. But I'm going to show you that, give you a complete overview of Ingleses. But as I say, I mean, this whole northern area has so much untapped potential for investors. And if you're seriously thinking Florianopolis, investing here, and you've got a vision for 3 years ahead, 5 years ahead, then the appreciation, sorry, I'm mixing Portuguese and English now, the appreciation and you know, the amenities, the level of things that will be here are going to be really worthwhile. You know, really worthwhile in terms of your investment or lifestyle as well. Okay, so now on the main road in Ingleses, just coming up from where I live, there are these 2 commercial towers here, one dedicated to medical staff, one to corporate staff. So there's a good local economy in Ingleses. As I say, it's the most populous neighborhood in Florianopolis. It's not seasonal, even though there are a lot of tourists here for tourist season. But to all intents and purposes, it's its own town. It has, you know, all the businesses you could think about. One of the main supermarkets there, Angeloni, very nice supermarket, does some imported goods, reasonably priced, certainly by international standards. Just remember, in Brazil, if something's imported, you lose out because high tax, but some homegrown, basic food, meat, that kind of thing, actually you do very well. Okay, so as I say, main highway, one of the things you'll see on the road here is in the middle, there's some green and there's some cycle lanes as well. So this is something I've seen done since I've been here. There used to be cycle lanes on the pavements, on the footpath where I am now, but they moved that all to the middle just to try and improve things with traffic. And it seems to work well. Since I've been living here, there's been a number of improvements. So it feels like things have really sort of come up a scale. You know, whether it's those corporate towers, in a bit we'll pass some like a commercial center, which what the structure that was there before, completely different. So they knocked it down and have done a really nice job. Around the time of the pandemic, the local authorities did this park as well. So it's something good for the community. So it's a Sunday afternoon, late afternoon, early evening here now. This is very busy during the week, and you know, in the height of tourist season, this part of town, as you go towards the beach, where you have the centrinho with all the shops and things, that gets really, really chaotic. I'll swing around and show you what's around here. So I have seen all these shop fronts sort of get a facelift, and you have this commercial centre and a gas station, or petrol station as we say in England, that's all new and has gone in. There's even a McDonald's here. There are not many neighbourhoods in Florianopolis that can boast a McDonald's. Interestingly enough, they're either in the shopping centres or the centre of the city. So yeah, so it's certainly a lot going on in Ingleses. Lots of pharmacy, mini markets, larger supermarkets as noted, restaurants, coffee shops, those things. So in terms of lifestyle, it's not bad, it's complete. Particularly if you're an active person, like to walk around, like to cycle, you can, easily get to things. It has all the amenities you need for day-to-day stuff. In terms of, if you want kind of really upscale luxury, then maybe you head to Jurerê to go out there. As I said, the north part we were in earlier, that's nicer. Lots of, there are good amenities there, and there will increasingly be more and more. What's happening with this part of Ingleses is lots of things are getting a facelift, and what that does is that starts to bring everything else up. So things have to maintain the same standard. So the developments that are going up in this part of Ingleses are quite nice, quite new, modern feel to them. More emphasis on luxury, good amenities going into those buildings. Okay, so key reference points here in Ingleses. So we're close to the beach now. This is where Rua das Gaivotas starts, which takes you up to that whole north region. As I say, that really is the nicest part of Ingleses. Where I am now, in the middle of Ingleses on the main road, this really separates Ingleses. That's not to be unkind about the south part of Ingleses. Even here, there's really nice coffee, pokey place, and things. But it's a mixed bag as you get down. But saying that, as you get right to the bottom of Ingleses, you have a really nice golf course, and that's a gated community as well, with some really nice houses as well. Nice clubhouse as part of that, great amenities as part of that. There was a project to link that golf course with some cable carts to go over to Santinho Beach, going over the sand dunes. Unfortunately, that has not been approved yet by the local authorities, but it's a mixed bag. So you get some really nice stuff, and to be honest, then you get some chaotic stuff as well. What kind of public would you find in Ingleses? It's mixed. As you go up the north part and on this bit here, there's wealth here. People don't flaunt it as much, but there are some nice houses. On the entrance of Ingleses as well, there's a very nice gated community there as well, which is very nice to live in. And as you, on this sort of middle to south side, it's very much kind of Brazilian working class as well. So, and as I say, I mean, there are things for all budgets, all tastes here in Florianopolis, in terms of, restaurants aimed at different publics, cafes, that kind of thing. It's mixed. We're heading now into do Centrinho, which is kind of the focus of in the kind of commercial life, restaurants for the tourist season. In years gone by, this part has felt very seasonal, but it's now having more movement year round, and the amenities are staying here. I'm going to show you something here that is a bit of a white elephant. So I'm going to try and cross the road without being run over. A word of warning: if you are here in the summertime, generally in Florianopolis, people are really good in traffic at stopping for pedestrians at zebra crossings, that kind of thing. In the summertime, because you get a lot of people who are from outside Florianopolis, different parts of Brazil, different parts of Santa Catarina, I don't think zebra crossings in these places work in quite the same way, so do be careful when crossing the road. Okay, so what I'm going to show you now is a shopping centre and hotel, which unfortunately the company that the developer, it was a cooperative system. This company went bust during the pandemic, so it's now become something of a white elephant. The same developer had another project in Gaivotas, which has now been taken on by another developer who will see that through. There is talk of another developer, another group taking this over. It was planned to be shopping centre, cinema, and hotel here. And just so you see the location, this is right in front of the beach here as well. So it's meant to have a nice boulevard, and actually the traffic you saw going from here was going to be stopped. It was all just going to be a boulevard. They were going to move around the traffic. What's going to happen with that, I don't know, but I think at some point something will happen with this shopping centre soon. There did used to be, where I stood now, about a year ago, 18 months ago, there were restaurants and things. They got knocked down, and I think for the better as well, just because it was ugly. You know, it wasn't done to a very good standard. This is the main commercial centre now. So a mix of shops, restaurants and things. There is a nice hotel down here as well. But I would say this area, to me, it feels a little chaotic. Now, some people really like that in Brazil. Some people love kind of Brazil, South America, just for that bit of chaos and things. And maybe some people just want something that's more reserved, more of a relaxed vibe. So Ingleses has a mix of that. Let's just check out what's happening here on a Sunday evening. Okay, so still many people on the beach, chilling out here. You have this water going out. A word of warning, in some places, the beach is not suitable for swimming in. There's a bit of pollution, and in other points on the beach, it's clean as well. This behind me is a camera system for the local police, so they're keeping an eye on things. Someone like Jurerê has a lot of those. Ingleses is getting more. Law enforcement works well here. Police are quite keen to protect touristy areas, not let crime get out of hand. That's true of Santa Catarina as a whole. Is Ingleses safe? Yes, Ingleses is safe. I have no problem walking around here at night. My children walk to school by themselves in the morning. They go to a private school here, and yeah, happy to let them, you know, be out and about. Obviously, not stay out too late and things. You know, Florianopolis, it really is the safest capital in Brazil. That doesn't mean that stuff doesn't happen. It doesn't mean that crime isn't prevalent and things, but it's more hidden away than it would be in some places in Brazil. And you know, this is a place where you could be out and about with an iPhone, you know, a nice watch. You can drive a convertible sports car without fear of being carjacked or anything like that. So yeah, I mean, even somewhere like here, you'd certainly feel safer than, let's say, the center of London or Los Angeles or somewhere like that. So maybe to close a bit, is Ingleses a good place to invest and to live? Is it a good place to invest? It is. It's a more accessible ticket than other large beach areas that are quite complete. So it's cheaper than Campeche, certainly cheaper than Nova Campeche and Jurerê. There's, as I say, it's one of the places that's seeing the most aggressive appreciation in Florianopolis. Ingleses has been averaging around 20% a year, and that's on ready properties. So the value is going up. I brought an apartment back here back in 2020, and more than doubled in terms of the value of that. We've more than doubled money. So that is possible, you know, buying correctly. The other thing about Ingleses as well is there's a lot of demand for rent. When a lot of people move from different parts of Brazil or Argentina even, and more internationals as well, Ingleses is an obvious place to come because of the schools, because of the infrastructure. It's a beach neighborhood, has all that it has, and that's quite rare in Florianopolis. It tends to be for locals, particularly public workers, that they want to be as close to the center as possible. But for people outside, the beach is a big draw. So Ingleses is a obvious place for many people. So there's real demand for year-round rent. One word of caution would be, if you do invest in a property here and you're going to rent it out, make sure that the agency who's doing that is really doing its homework on the people, as renters' rights are very strong for annual rent as well. So if you did find yourself in a position where you had a tenant who wasn't paying, eviction can be a lengthy process, and that's a very horrible position to be in. So, you know, if you're thinking about long-term rent here, do make sure that the person is well vetted. What about, and another word on that as well, rent prices have been driven up by people coming here, and some people are citing the Russian community. There are something like 3,000 Russians in Florianopolis, many of them here for both tourism or maybe the real estate investment visa, because the Brazilian passport is a very good one. So certainly lots of people coming this way for that. So that has definitely driven up the demand and prices for rent in Ingleses. So Ingleses can be a good place where you have just a good, solid, long-term tenant. And then tourist season, of course, in tourist season, there's a lot of demand. This year was interesting. Last year, it was like the Argentinians came back in force as their economy has picked up a bit. We had a year ago a very strong tourist season, and then everybody wanted to get in on the act this year. And the local authorities were saying, well, there's going to be 3 million visitors coming to Florianopolis. And there were a lot of visitors who came to Florianopolis. However, one thing I noticed is those who did well this year with Airbnb were people who had a well-positioned property. It was close to the beach. They had a good price, a competitive price, because what has happened in years gone by is people further back from the beach have been renting out as well and have done very well. But the demand dropped a little this year, and I'll tell you why. Because it's a World Cup year, and the Argentinians are saving up to go to either the United States, Mexico, Canada to watch the game. So actually we had less Argentinians come, or they had less to spend as well. So there was noticeably a lot of tourists here this year, not as many as last year, and those who were here were closer to the beach. So if you have a property well positioned on the beach, you would do well always here in Ingleses, even with a sort of freak year like this year with the World Cup disrupting things, okay? But also year-round as well, Airbnb that can still work. I mean, one thing I encourage some clients to do is, if they're renting out in the high tourist season for Airbnb, slot a digital nomad in for a few months, slot a Russian family here in for a few months outside of the tourist season. So you can make money here with an Airbnb property year-round. It's even the case that some locals or people who are here for a time will accept a deal where they'll probably rent for you for 8 to 9 months out of the year, and then they'll go somewhere else during the high tourist season, and so that the owner of the property can rent it out, for much higher rates, and then let the tenant come back after the high tourist season. So a bit of insight into how it works. So is Ingleses a good place to invest in? I believe so, in terms of appreciation and rental income as well. Those two things combined, it could be very interesting. Just be careful how you're positioning your property, the type of public you are appealing to. We're always happy to give that as consultation to our clients as well. Is Ingleses a good place to live? Yes. It's not for everybody. Okay, if you want good infrastructure, convenience, you know, schools, supermarkets, you know, restaurants, all of those things nearby, good price, good accessible price, then actually here is a good place as well. You get used to the distances in Florianopolis. When I first moved here, 20 miles, 30 kilometers from the center, it seemed like a long way, but actually the traffic flows well. Okay, I'm not sure what it's like at rush hour to Campeche now, but there was a time, even though Campeche is so much closer to Ingleses, to the center, than Ingleses, it was still quicker to come to Ingleses because we have 2-3 lanes coming up. Accesses are good into the neighborhood. Gets a little congested as you come into Ingleses at the end of the day, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not that bad. Okay. One final thing I'll say as well, also a big concern for a lot of people is medical care. Is there a hospital in the north of the island? There isn't a hospital. There is public outcry, not outcry, but demand for a hospital. But there are many good clinics here in the north of the island. Like I said, over where I live, one of those towers is dedicated to medical staff. There is a clinic over here, Leitano, and they will do some emergency treatment and things. So I'm sure they get very busy, like if someone picks up a nasty rotavirus in the summer or things like that, or you know, they can even do x-rays if you suspect you've got broken bones, that kind of thing. As you come out of Ingleses, there is an UPA, which is like a public SUS, the private, the public Brazilian system. They're really good, and actually I've taken, I mean, I've been in instances where I've been at a pool party, an international has fallen into a pool, broken his ribs, and I was really impressed by the treatment that person got there. They were seen very quickly, treated very well, given a prescription, same cost for painkiller medicine, and I tell you what, it was a lot quicker than it would be in the UK with the NHS system they have. So there's also a public clinic as well, which once you have your CPF in Brazil, you can access that, and you know, many private clinics as well, even here in Ingleses. So in one sense, you're covered for a lot of things. Nearest hospital is Bahia Sul, that's going towards the center, so you're almost 20 miles away. So yeah, that's Ingleses in a nutshell, and I hope that helps. And if you'd like more information about Ingleses or just Florianopolis in general, do reach out to us. And also as well, give us your feedback on these videos. What kind of information is helpful? Obviously we want to be scratching where you're itching, probably not the best analogy, but let us know what's helpful as we keep producing these videos on different areas in Florianopolis, and then we'll look at some other coastal cities in Santa Catarina as well.